Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to today's PowerBoost. So we know that the body affects the mind. Body has an influence, an impact on the mind. And the question is, how can we support the healing of the body with our vibrations? Now, all of us, there were times where we had an illness or an injury, something smaller or even bigger. And when there's pain in the body, when there's an illness, when there's an injury, an accident happens, typically one thing that arises very quickly is fear. We start to worry. The mind gets affected, something happens to the body, or maybe we receive a diagnosis from the doctor. And fear arises in our mind. That fear, that anxiety weakens the mind, and the mind starts to have weak thoughts. The thoughts not only become weak, but the thoughts are also all circulating around the injury or the illness of the body. The thing with thoughts is, if I have a thought, I start to have feelings, I start to experience, I start to have an experience in relation to that thought. And the next step is, I become the embodiment of that thought. I become it. So if there's illness in the body, the mind becomes weak, for example, because of fear, the habit of disliking, not wanting, not accepting what has happened. That fear weakens the mind, and I have weak thoughts, and I start to feel weak. There's an inner experience in the mind of weakness, and that weakness of the mind, that lack of energy in the mind, that lack of positivity affects the body. So yes, something is going on with the body, but because the mind is also affected, that energy now weakens the physical energy. Eventually, and most of us, we probably have experienced that at one point. Eventually, we can end up with the thought, I am ill. Yeah. And whatever I relate or refer to as I am, it becomes my identity. So if I think I am ill, I am sick, then I am conscious, I'm conscious about the illness, I'm conscious about unwellness. And guess what you're becoming? I start to live in a world of definitively unhappiness, in a world of weakness, in a world of illness, in a world that is very unhealthy and is inviting more and more weak and negative thoughts, worry, anxiety, doubts. And so even then, when we, for example, receive treatment or medication, but because the mind is in such a negative state, we take the medication, and maybe the medication could work or do much more for the body. In addition, body has a great capacity to heal itself, but because of the mind, all my thoughts are connected about worrying the situation, the condition of the body. Maybe even there's fear of what will happen, what if I die, in an extreme case. So what can we do in order to actually support the health, support the healing of the body, and even at times when we have to take medication to amplify the benefit of the medication for the body. And so if we, for example, accept that there's an illness or I've received a diagnosis, then to understand that this is in relation to the physical body. But in this body, there's a conscious being. The consciousness that I am, if my consciousness is having thoughts about illness, this is then the world I live in. If my consciousness is about healthy thoughts about the self, pure thoughts, thoughts of goodness, highly vibrating thoughts, or thoughts that vibrate at a very high level. For example, I am a peaceful being. I am love. I am lovely. I am loved. And I love. These are simple thoughts, but they have a high frequency. And these kind of thoughts of forgiving, thoughts of accepting, thoughts of choosing to let go of what harms, what doesn't support, letting go of worry, letting go of fear, and inviting peace, inviting inner calmness, allowing the self to accept what is and use those pure thoughts to support the healing of the body. And when we have to take medication, I can take the medication with love. I choose to take the medication, doctor prescribed it. I take the medication in order to strengthen the body. I do that with love and out of love. So then the consciousness is not all about the illness, but I am actually adding, injecting very pure vibrations into the body. Every thought carries a vibration. If we practice this a little bit, reflect on that idea that there's a consciousness that I am, my identity is connected to that being that is of peace, love, happiness. I have the ability to think, to feel, and then I have a body and I use the body. And yes, things happen to the body, but to keep the mind healthy and use the power of the mind to support the healing of the body. Become your own well-wisher instead of cursing the self, cursing the body. And yes, this will take courage, and once we start to experiment with it, it actually becomes very easy and it changes our entire mindset. So then my thoughts, my feelings are not about I'm weak, I cannot, or of worry what will happen, or of pain, and invoking, invoking a consciousness that is very dark, very unhealthy, very unhappy. That unhappiness itself is poison for the body, is poison for the self, and is unnecessary. So to use our willpower to keep the mind healthy, keep the mind happy, by understanding that I am not the body, I am love, I am peace. Yeah? Because whatever I am, that's what I identify with. And so you certainly do not want to identify with something that is unhappy, that is poisonous, that brings you down, takes away your light, right? So let us pause here and have a reflective meditation. So sit quietly, take a deep breath in, and then exhale. I feel calm, I feel relaxed. And for the next few minutes, I want to explore my inner world, want to explore the mind, the power of the mind, and how my mind affects the body. Our default state is that if pain arises, physical pain arises, if there's illness, we react in a negative way. Our mind gets affected, which further weakens the body. It can even increase the disease or the pain. When I turn within and I reconnect to myself, I do that in order to explore my power, emerge my light, and consciously use my own inner light, the light of the soul, the light of the conscious being, to give, to donate peace and love, vibrations of healing to the body. I remind myself that in this body there's consciousness, there's a living being with innate goodness, and I am that being. I love to connect to my inner peace, the love that I am. I love to be happy. Whatever is going on with the body, I use the power of love in the form of acceptance. I accept what is instead of living in denial or with suppression or fear. And once I accept, thoughts of love, thoughts of peace, thoughts of acceptance emerge. It is as if I am embracing the part of the body that needs my support. It is like to have a good wish. For the part that got damaged or injured. Even if I have to take medication, I take it with love. The vibrations of love have great healing capacity. I have the power to let go of fear. There is no need to worry, because when I love, there's the thought of acceptance. When there is well-wishing, pure feelings, pure thoughts. It becomes a great support for the body. I embody the thought, I am love. If I hold that thought starts to create an experience within, an experience of pure, gentle love. I feel love. I feel love. I have love for the body. I have love for myself. My consciousness is not around the illness, but about healing, peace, love, happiness. I keep my mind occupied with useful, necessary, pure and elevated thoughts. I keep going with my life, life's activities. I remain happy. I remain powerful. Om Shanti.